Hi everyone, this is Jake and Nadia, and then we have our little Sidoni girl, our buddy boy, and then our Babu Miracle. Today we're back with a really #1 movie in the world right now is Ant-Man.
And the Wasp.
And that.
Quantumania.
And that too.
We had to watch it separately because we're taking care of Babu. He's new and he can't really be left alone. But I have no idea what you feel about the movie, and you have no idea what I feel about the movie.
We have a completely, this is the first time we're both discovering because we couldn't even watch each other's reaction, which kind of sometimes tells it off.
You go first.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh my God. I want to know what you think first. Okay, I'll tell you my first. I would say that I really like the film. I can see why it's a #1 film. I do think it had a little bit of a savior type of theme in some instance, which I can get into in the spoiler. I think that Paul Rudd is hilarious, and honestly the storyline in itself was great, although I did have criticism in parts of it, which I'll get into the spoiler section. Marvel made a comeback since Spider-Man because I wasn't a fan of Thor, very below my expectation. And this one was above it because my expectation was low because of Thor, Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, I was like, oh, okay. They actually made it funny. It was repetitive, I will say. The storylines were repetitive, but I think that's to expect in a Marvel type of film because it's a superhero action film, right? Bad guys lose. It's about the Avengers theme. But I am really impressed by how much they created the universe in this next phase and how they're bringing the story together. There was a lot of Loki reminder, like the Loki, if you've seen the Disney show on the streaming service, you will know who the villain is. Also, there's post-credit scenes that show hint some of
I only saw the first post-credit scene. I didn't see the second one. I was too impatient.
Oh my God. Okay, the second post-credit scene.
Will you tell me in spoilers what it is?
Yeah, it will hint at upcoming films like it always does, but I want to particularly talk about what it hints at. So yeah, overall I really liked it. I thought the acting was phenomenal. I got really annoyed with the daughter, which I can get into in the spoiler section in the beginning.
So you liked it a lot?
I liked it a lot and I would recommend it, and I said my ratings would be 9 out of 10.
God.
Okay.
You're giving this a 9 out of 10?
Yeah. I thought it was hilarious. I laughed a lot.
I don't know how
now
to
I can't even finish my non-spoiler rating because I'm looking at your face. I need to know your thoughts.
Finish your...
No, I can't because now I'm like, I can't think. I need to just know what you think.
I actually was pleasantly surprised. I had really low expectations going. First, I've never seen an Ant-Man movie. So I was coming into the third Ant-Man movie just like...
Yes, you did, didn't you?
No. So I just went in. I know Ant-Man from like the Avengers movies or whatever. So I saw the trailer and I thought that the trailer made it look like Spy Kids 3 or A Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Just the CG. I will say this is some of the worst CGI I've seen in a Marvel film probably ever.
You think so?
It was so bad, and I think that the directing made it even worse in that everything was so flat. There were some shots where it was just like, this isn't fit, like it's not finished. Like it just looked like they had rushed their CGI. So I don't blame the CG people. I blame Marvel for putting it out like on a production line. And I read an article that they moved resources from Ant-Man to Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. And they put more of their CG stuff into that. And they were just like rushing this movie out. And it looks not good. Like, this is a movie that should be visually inviting and exciting. We're in a very unique world, and it just looks like a muddy gray mess for most of it.
I disagree. I didn't have any criticism about the visuals at all. I didn't notice any of that. Maybe because the fact that they traveled to the quantum realm, I think I expected it to be muddy and kind of like that color. I thought it was more of a creative choice than it was a CGI defect.
It didn't come across that way to me. And even the stuff that was trying to be like visually invented, like there's some stuff later in the movie that was kind of visually interesting. You could tell it wasn't done to like a high enough standard. It just looked kind of bad. Like it just looked bad. And I'd say that it was the case with most of the movie. So that's my biggest issue with the movie. Otherwise, I thought it was pretty solid in terms of this is a Marvel movie. It was right middle down the road. You know, I'd give it maybe a 4.5 or 5.
What?
Which I'd go maybe 4 or 4.5 because to me 5 is right in the middle. This was right around middle, not quite. It was just fine. I will say, step up from Thor Love and Thunder, because at least this felt like a movie. Like there was a story, there were characters, things happened in a logical way. Again, Thor Love and Thunder is like a collection of TikToks stitched together. So it just, at least there was something there. I don't think it was as good as Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I liked that one a bit more because it felt a little more...
I thought this was better.
I think Doctor Strange had way lower stakes, but it was more inventive. Like, it had Sam Raimi there giving some style at least. This one, like, it's just standard coverage. Some of the acting felt hilariously bad. Like, Michael Douglas, I've never seen him in any of these Ant-Man movies. I don't know if he's like this in all of the movies, but he looked like he was dead. Michelle Pfeiffer was fine. Again, you just feel like, especially with the older actors, you feel like they're just standing in a blank room. The CG doesn't connect with their bodies. Eventually in the movie, you kind of forget about it. But when you consider that a movie like Avatar: The Way of Water is in the theater next to you, that is so immersive and everything feels tangible. You know, this movie, it does feel like 2003.
Honestly,
sci-fi stuff.
A lot of people had problems with Avatar CGI. There's a lot of criticism about that too. So
of what?
I don't know. I was recently watching some video reviews about people saying that the CGI in Avatar was bad.
Okay, they're dumb. They are dumb.
I didn't see any of those criticism about the look, and I didn't think that Michael Douglas looked dead. I thought he played his part well. You and I are just very different with our opinions of this film, huh? We see it like polar opposite.
Very mediocre, and everyone's talking about Jonathan Majors. Like, well, at least Jonathan Majors brought it in. He was fine. I honestly just think he'd choose the scenery. He has his thing that he's like all menacing, but I honestly feel like, and this is weird because he's going to be like a huge villain down the road. Remember with Thanos, I never felt like oversaturated with Thanos. You know, you always wanted more Thanos.
You're talking about Kang.
Yeah, Jonathan Majors plays Kang. I feel like with Kang, I've seen enough. Like, I've seen him in Loki. I've seen it. Like, I just don't think he's that menacing. Like,
I do have criticism about him because I felt like I felt like he was overacting.
Yes, he chews the scenery.
And
it's just so much. And everyone praises him. And I get, like, he at least brings some life and energy into the scenes. But it's like, it's just like over the top, every scene.
I felt like his counterparts, I mean, I think, you know, with multi-universe, it's not a spoiler that their counterparts, then they are like not as, like, he plays things differently.
It's every scene is mustache twirling, fate of the universe.
Well,
dialogue.
I guess because it is, but.
It is, but yeah, but it's just like, I will say I thought that it had more like good balance of humor and, like, there were some funnier moments. It just was super ugly to look at for the most part. It was just fine. It was a nice 2 hours of just like my time for most of it. Like, it picked up halfway through. It got a little more exciting. I wouldn't say it's like, oh, phase 4 and 5 suck now. I just think it's like people have come to expect more. And this is just like your average Marvel movie that you'd see in the early phases too, you know? They've never been amazing, you know? They're just fine.
Yeah, the only part I agree with you on is that Kang's acting was overacting.
I don't even hate it though. Like, that's the thing. I thought it was fine. I don't hate it either. I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, just like shocked at your rating still.
Why? I feel like I'm being pretty...
It was like... It was a great film. It was a really good film. I highly recommend it.
What was great? What was excellent about it? That it gets a 9 out of 10.
It was funny. The only reason it doesn't get like a 10 out of 10 is because I felt like there was not very much connection between Ant-Man and his girlfriend Hope. I felt like they could... Oh,
that was his... I didn't know if that was his girlfriend or not.
No, they are. And I feel like they could be almost like... Yeah, they could be like just getting together. They
didn't have much screen time together.
They didn't, and that's the thing. But I mean, it was more about Ant-Man and his daughter in this film, so probably because of that. But yeah, and I also felt like the story in the way in which they get to the quantum realm was a little bit cliche. I mean, but I also think it worked, so I'm not criticizing it too much on that. Do you recommend it?
Yeah, I recommend it, but not like with like a bunch of enthusiasm. It's just like, if you have to go see a movie with your family or whatever, like, this is fine.
Well, I watched
if you've already seen Avatar. And I will say I was disappointed by the ending very much. I thought that it could have resolved things. It just was so vague with the ending that it was just kind of unsatisfying in that Marvel way where it's just like a trailer for the future stuff, you know?
All right, let's get to the spoiler section because I have a few things to say about the ending.
All right.
3, 2, 1, spoilers. So in the ending, I thought there was going to be a big twist because I thought it was funny how Ant-Man is walking kind of way that he was in the beginning of the film. He goes to the sandwich shop and this time they charge him when they didn't charge him like a few times before. And then I thought it was funny, but then he starts to realize like, wait, why did Kang say if he didn't get out that our universe basically would be destroyed?
No, I actually like that. I like
that too.
He's like talking to himself and it gets like creepy. I thought like they really missed an opportunity because the last shot of the movie, he's still thinking like, oh, what if maybe there's something bad that's going to happen? And then he just eats the cake and he's like, oh, it's gross. And that's the end of the movie. And it was such a lame. Imagine if he's there sitting at the table and like he's kind of a happy-go-lucky guy, but now imagine he has this kind of paranoia where he's like he sees this darkness coming and he's sitting there enjoying the birthday. Then he thinks he sees Kang just like as a waiter in the restaurant and he like sees him and he freaks out. He looks closer and then it's like not him. Mid-credit scene where it's like all the Kangs are together. Again, was Jonathan Majors just going so over the top. It was like, it was kind of
I didn't feel
insane.
like he went over the top in those ones. But I thought like the Ant-Man's funny, like at the end, the way that it ended was like, no, I'm just overthinking, was actually funny. I actually did find humor in that because it was like, you would expect for there to be like seeing someone or whatever. And then it kind of goes into Ant-Man's humor. I think they're trying to portray him as like more of like Spider-Man, the way that he used to be, where it was kind of like he's just like the comedy relief type of character, not seriously taken. I feel like he's like Marvel's version of Deadpool.
What the? No, it's nothing like that. He wasn't even funny in the movie, really. Like
but they portray him as if like he's not all that serious, even though he is.
He just wasn't funny. He was always playing the straight man in this kind of wild situation. And I don't know if he's funny in the other Ant-Man movies, but look, when Kang is like sucked into that like ball thing, that's like the energy cube or whatever it is, there's no resolution. I thought that I really wanted some kind of interesting thing to happen at the end of the movie because it seems like all hope is lost. Paul Rudd goes back through the portal to fight Kang. He doesn't go back to the portal. He gets stuck.
No,
I was really hoping he would get stuck there with Kang. Then his daughter just like makes a portal again. And it's fine.
So that's my criticism.
I wanted them to be stuck there.
Yes, me
Give
too.
us something to be like, oh no.
I felt like the stakes were kind of high and then they were like taken off.
Exactly. They had like really interesting stuff. They had like Kang being this major threat and then he's just like vanishes into a thing. We have no idea what the hell is even going on. And then they're fine. So it just felt like they were doing a cop-out and also felt like the filmmakers probably wanted to do something like that, but it's like they have this whole Marvel scheme where they're like, well, we don't know what this movie's going to do with Kang, so we got to do something kind of vague with him so that that's flexible and all that stuff. You know, it's all this massive production line that there's so little room for like interesting storytelling.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree with that. I also think that one thing that could really have improved, I mean, in the beginning, it kind of was like, I understand what they were trying to do, but like his daughter, Ant-Man's daughter, she was like, oh, you didn't do anything. And when it was like, he saved the world, and then what? You just sat on your ass kind of thing?
It was a stupid conflict. Like
It was a little weird because it's like, but then Ant-Man played it, like Paul Rudd played it as teenagers, right? Like kind of thing. So I think that way of playing it worked instead of taking it seriously because he never was like seemed offended about his daughter's comments. I also thought it was a little cliche when the bad dude became like good. I am not a dick, but I will say I love the way he died. I love the way he died where he's like, and I became part of the Avengers.
Hell yeah.
And then I was like, yeah, a lot happened today. I thought that was really funny, you know?
I mean, it definitely got better as the movie went on. Like earlier on, like there's this scene with Bill Murray. I like that clever thing where it's like he's eating this drink that has like this creature in it and he like eats the creature.
Oh my God, that was hard to watch for me.
And then throw one of those things in it and it gets big and then eats Bill Murray. I thought that was good.
Oh, but I was so happy with that. I was like, avenge, because it really like, it was hard to watch like, because the creatures are so cute and they're like, no, don't eat me, and then gets eaten.
That scene with Bill Murray, Michelle Pfeiffer, Michael Douglas, they're sitting there, like, the editing was so, like, weirdly loose. Like, there's just so much space between their dialogue. It just felt like I'm watching these super old, like, Hollywood legends, like, terrible dialogue, just trying to make the scene feel alive. And even Bill Murray, who can bring this unique energy to a scene, just couldn't bring anything. It just felt so dull. Like, you're bringing Bill Murray into your movie, and all you're giving him is this boring scene. Like,
that scene didn't make any sense to me. Janet was so confident that her friend was going to save them, and it was like he was nothing like the way he was before. And it almost seemed like it just felt like it had to be there in order to be there, but it didn't like add anything. If anything, it just kind of felt like it was like the script wasn't very clean.
It was just like, get these characters to this point, with little
No,
friction.
I understand that, but it was interesting because Janet is usually smart, so it made it seem like she did something even more horrible. Like, it made it seem like to me that her friend joined the dark side because of what she did. But when we look at like the past through her vision, then you realize that actually this bad thing that she did mistakenly, which wasn't her fault because she was tricked, was before she ever met this other guy that she trusts so much. So events occurred in the past before she became a quote-unquote terrorist or freedom fighter, right? Whichever way. But then it seems like her friend is justifying that he went to the dark side because of her. But it's like when the past is really revealed, it doesn't justify it at all. It just almost, it's like he's making an excuse just to have an excuse. But the way Janet reacts to it, it's like she did something 10 times more horrible than she did.
It didn't bother me at all.
It bothered me, but I will say one of my favorite scenes were the ants.
I was just going to say, I liked the ants coming in. That was fun. Some fun moments like that.
I love how the ants just like aged and then are like so cool. And then everyone else, when like people get saved by ants basically, and everyone's like, the heck? Like, are these ants like really fighting for us? And there are like lots of them. And then Hope's dad really commands the ants, and he's like, it's almost like he's a superhero now. Yeah.
Wait, so what was the post-credit scene, the very end?
Oh, yes. So post-credit scene, Loki is there.
Oh.
And Loki's there with Owen Wilson's character. Like, they see a version of Kang. Owen Wilson's character is like, wow, you made him sound terrifying. He's actually funny because he's a philosopher talking about time. Loki's like, oh, he is. I just really love that Marvel is like putting shows and movies together as an overarching storyline, because I think that's pretty cool. You are very like cynical about Marvel.
To me, the TV shows just feel like movies stretched out and cut into pieces.
Yeah.
And it's just like, just have it be a movie. I don't know. I don't care about it. Like, just feels like I don't need any more stretching out of this.
But you really loved WandaVision. You really enjoyed
it was fine until the last couple episodes. But again, WandaVision could have been... Last couple
episodes sucked.
WandaVision could have been a cool movie. I think Loki could have also been a movie. Like, I don't know. That's just what I think.
I would be there to watch Loki as a film. I'm a big Loki fan.
I am just ready for them to get to the point. You know what I mean? Like, let's get to the Avengers movie. But that's not going to be until like 2025,
And then they'll have another phase.
It's endless.
Well, you're just on a Marvel burnout.
It's just like very middle of the road, very bland, just try to do something as inoffensive as possible. And
I will say that there is a lot of these films and the years and repetition of it is causing a little bit of a burnout, because I do feel it in myself where it's like not as enthusiastic. It's almost like an episode of, I don't know, Law and Order, where it's like on its 20th season, it becomes repetitive at some point.
Yes, you're right. But here's the thing. People were saying that with the first phases, Mm-hmm. Like, I remember after the first Avengers, people would be like, oh, this next phase isn't as good. People have burnout. I stopped watching Avengers movie after the Avengers because I was just like, this is boring. I've seen this all before. And then I came back again later. But people are going to be saying that forever with it, just because there's been so many Marvel movies and it's all the same formula. But also, the people who are watching Marvel original Avengers are older now. You know, they're not as enthusiastic about it. There's younger kids now. The kids, you know, in theaters watching it, they're going to be saying different things. You know, they're going to be saying, this was the great phase. These were the good movies. And now you know, it's
well,
just...
and I think like the Disney shows that are like that they're making, a lot of the superheroes are targeted towards a younger audience now. There's more like teenage related, there's like different age groups, I think, for a lot of them. But so I think you're right. I don't know. I feel like Guardian of the Galaxy, I'm not like enthusiastic about it like I used to be.
I'm excited because I know, like...
Because of the way that Thor misled.
But
I just think that...
That's Thor's problem. That has nothing to do with Guardians.
Yeah, but they made it seem like Thor was going to be part of the Guardian of the Galaxy in the last Avengers film. And then they hyped it up, and so...
That's Thor. I mean, that's what Thor failed on. But, I mean, I liked Guardians 1. I loved Guardians 2. And Guardians 3 it seems like maybe some kind of resolution. Anything that is hinting that, hey, this might be the last Guardians movie, which maybe. I'm excited about it. Anything that has some kind of ending to it, I'm excited about.
I don't think there will be a resolution until there's more Avengers.
I'm thinking the Guardians will not appear until like Secret Wars or something, you know.
All right, well,
anyways,
that's our review.
It's our review. Thank you for watching.
And
let us know what you thought of Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania.
Yeah. And yeah, let us know what else we should watch. Are you excited for the Guardian of the Galaxy? Let us know. Otherwise, we'll talk to you later, yeah?
Talk to you later.